Yeah, what's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Prison Break Raw. I'm your host, the one and only Big JD. Too often, people blame their addiction for why they act the way they do, why they're in the state that they're in, why they're an absent parent, why they beat up their wife, why they rip off their family, why they got behind the wheel of that car and crashed into some people, why they go to prison, all these things. It's the addiction's fault. How about this? Why don't you take some personal accountability in yourself? We all have problems. We all have had problems. We've all gone through the ringer of life, some more than others. You've heard my story a million times. The things that I've gone through as a kid, all of these things, and I believe the typical hype that everybody else gets fed. It's the addiction, it's the drugs, it's the alcohol, it's all these things. And for a minute there, I thought I was a drug addict. But you know what I learned as I went further down the road and engaged in even more self-destruction is I learned that the reason for these things were simple. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm the one that's the problem. I'm choosing some kind of method to drown out the noise, to block it all out. So why not get high? Why not get drunk? Why not get into some kind of a induced stupor to forget about it all? Well, the problem with that is most of the time, you have to keep feeding that escape. You could lay down in your bed and you can go to sleep to escape from the world and go to dreamland, whatever your dreams are. Good dreams, bad dreams, wet dreams, nightmares, whatnot. But the sad reality is you're going to wake up again back in reality, or of what we believe this to be reality. It's the reality for the moment because this is what you're living. You're seeing me right now in the present moment. Your perception for the minute, whatever it may be, good or bad about me. But this addiction thing, what is an addiction? Me, I was addicted to crime. What that basically means is that I had to continue to break the law, continue to live as an outsider, an outlaw, whatnot, because I believed that that's what I was supposed to be doing. I've often asked people that are considered to be drug addicts, why do you get high? Why all the time? You sit there and watch people that are constantly smoking, snorting, or slamming all day long. How much higher can you get? It's almost like it's more of a compulsive behavior than an addiction. It becomes a compulsion at that point. I mean, your body can only take so much before it reaches its peak. And then when people OD, that's your body telling you basically, it's over with. The party is over. So a lot of people wonder, why do people go to prison? And a lot of the reasons and excuses that the criminal justice world and the government comes up with is, well, it's their drug problem. And as long as they're a nonviolent drug offender, we could get them the help that they need. But do they really want that help that they need? When you got somebody that's overweight, you know you need to go on a diet. Are they going to go on a diet? You can enroll them in the most expensive weight loss program there is. Their success rate depends on their willingness to want to lose the weight in the first place. These drug programs are often when somebody is at their very rock bottom and they're in prison or something to that effect. They might have just lost their kids, and some government agency waves it over like a fucking dog biscuit, saying, you want your kids back, you want your freedom, do this program. Well, you see, that's not solving the addiction problem at all. All that's doing is basically giving you a treat or a reward for going through their program that they have to justify all the money that they're shelling into it. But most of the time, these programs fail. Why? Not because the program's bad, but because the mindset has no willingness or no desire to want to get right. They have reservations. They think that they have one more left in them, and they just go on that one and they keep going. Well, it's like I've told you before. I drink. I take a toke every now and then. I drink Kratom coffee and all these different things, stimulants. And people would think that I'm a bad person or that I'm a hypocrite for even speaking on this. But let me tell you this about myself. I go to work sometimes 10, 12 hours a day, and I'm still doing that even in the winter, and we ain't even supposed to be working this many hours in the winter, but it just keeps going. I'm still pumping out content. I still got the roof over my head. It may not be the one that I wanted. I may have went through a bunch of drama. I may lose a whole lot of money on this condominium deal that looks like it's just going to fall apart. The first house deal fell apart. These can all be used as excuses for me to go down that road of self-destruction. But do I do it? I do not. I keep pushing. And it's like I said, regardless of what happens from day to day, I don't live in this, wow, man, I can't do anything, man. I have to stay completely white knuckle sober all the way through because I have an addictive personality and I'll just self-destruct. Well, that's not exactly true. Yes, I have an addictive personality. But the question is, can you balance it out with your will to want to continue to strive down the road to positive change and success? It's funny because I see a lot of people in these programs and they're sober from whatever their drug of choice is, but they're overeaters, they're complainers, they're in a bad mood all the time. They might drink a lot of coffee or smoke a lot of cigarettes. Guess what, pal? That nicotine is a drug. That caffeine is a drug as well. So you really haven't accomplished anything. All you've done is you have transferred your addiction over to some other substance. And that's what I'm trying to say here. That's what I'm talking about. You just have to ask yourself what works for you, what doesn't work for you. If you could become like a functioning addict, if there's even such a thing, can you? Can you snort a line of methamphetamine and cocaine, maybe on a Friday night, and be back at work Monday morning? Can you stop? Do you understand what you're about ready to embark on? What mission you're about ready to go on? If you drink, can you take 3 or 4 drinks and just be feeling good without being shit-faced? I've been shit-faced a few times. When it's over, you have to rationally challenge everything that's going on in yourself. You have to ask yourself why. What are you numbing? What are you escaping from? The reason why a lot of these programs fail in prison is because the person only wants to go through them in order to either get their kids back, get out of prison early, maybe get a deferred sentence, all that stuff. Never for solving their problems. And there's a lot of gems of wisdom in these programs. I told you already. I went through a cognitive behavioral therapy program. It's marketed as a drug treatment program. But really, all it is teaching you critical thinking. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, rational self-analysis, and all that. So what people really need to start doing is taking a page out of my book, and it's not even my book, but it's the book of life itself. I'm not doing anything different than other people have done over the generations of human history. You just have to be aware of the present moment. You have to understand what's going on around you right now. If you decide you're going to smoke a little weed, You have to look at the consequences of doing it, as opposed what are the benefits for the time. Let's say you're having trouble sleeping. Let's say you have a piss poor appetite, a little bit of depression. Smoking a little CBD or a little weed might help you with that. But can you do it to the level of moderation is the question. To avoid compulsion. To know that you can indulge in the products and things of life itself without becoming compulsive. You have to know what your limits are. You have to know what your balance is. The reason why I was able to be successful in all of this and defeat the self-destructive attitude that was constantly putting me in prison is simple. I realized that I was compulsive. I wasn't addicted to anything. I was compulsive. And I failed to realize that what I was doing had a negative ripple effect on so many different people. I thought by robbing the bank, I'm just stealing money from the government. Little did I know that that bank teller and anybody else that was in that bank could have been traumatized from that. Wow, what if this guy had a gun? What if he had a bomb on him? I might have just escaped with my life. Stealing, selling dope. You're selling dope to some woman and she has 5 kids. What kind of a life do those kids have if that woman doesn't understand her compulsion? And she believes that she's feeding her addiction. And she thinks she needs to numb it all out because maybe one of those kids came from a bad marriage where a father was abusive and beating and all that stuff. Cheating. To understand life itself as a present moment situation and circumstance and existence itself requires you to understand that all of these things in life could either be enjoyed or engaged upon, indulged without compulsion. And in the end, you've basically mastered your own life. I keep pushing. I keep working this 10-hour shift. I keep moving forward. Life slaps me in the face. I just pick myself back up and I keep on moving. Look at this new office, this new studio. It was created because of a failure that I had. It was created to continue to model my success and to demonstrate that I'm willing to continue to move forward. It's your mindset. Your mindset is either constructive or destructive. And if you know how to recognize the difference, you'll be the first one to be a master of your own life and your destiny. I don't have the keys to the kingdom to keep everybody out of prison, but the one thing that I do know about prison itself, at the end of the day, it's a choice. You chose to do whatever it is that you do. Don't blame your addiction for your problems. Blame your compulsion because that's really what it is. Your compulsion is the one that is driving you towards convincing yourself that you're addicted in the first place. You already know what it is. You heard it right here. Prison Rank Raw, uncut, uncensored, no holds barred, non-sugarcoated, not politically correct, all up in your face, slapping you with that dick of reality. And I'm out.